Hello and welcome to chapter 15.5 of Bookish Babes After Dark. Now you may be wondering, why is it a point 5? And that is because we film these episodes so far in advance that everything's already assigned and given a episode number. But today we're coming at you with I'm going to say an emergency episode.
Yeah, just a quick
Yeah,
little discussion, if you
yeah.
will.
Because
We're being reactive. That's what we are.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we've seen something in the community that we're not happy with, and we
Yeah.
want to talk about it. So today's episode is about advanced reader copies, or also known as ARCs. So recently, it was shared on social media that Lee Rivers and Harley Beck's Chokehold ARC was pirated by somebody that was in their ARC team, street team.
in the street team.
Yes. And it's kind of caused a chain of events that
Yeah, it's just snowballed.
Yeah.
and it's kind of created this situation now that is going to affect other readers and other ARC readers. So for some context, obviously, I don't know how the authors found out that this had happened, but obviously they found out. They've done the right thing. They've not released who it was to the public because obviously they didn't want them to get bullied or whatever. Child came in there. Sorry about that. Mother right here. Mother.
Yeah, we're all crying.
Crying. And so what they've done is they said, okay, so if you're an author or publisher or whoever, and you want to DM me to confirm the name of the person so that you can identify if any of your work has been pirated, then let me know. And obviously people have then done that, found that loads and loads of authors have had work pirated, and it's now got to a situation where authors are actually closing street teams, they're closing ARC applications.
So they're just not doing them anymore.
Yeah, so they're just not doing them, or they're closing them down to people that have had them before. And that's really sad.
Yeah, considering, I can understand why they've done it. Obviously, these books are authors' livelihood. You know, they go above and beyond to write these and put the effort in, and obviously put the trust in their street teams and put the trust in their art readers, you know, to keep it withheld. And obviously, when someone spoils the fun for everybody else, it obviously snowballs into other people missing out. You know, because there's more good people in art teams and street teams than there is bad.
Yeah.
And it only takes one to be a bit of a dick and be like, I'm going to sort of stick it online for people to read. And it's like, well, half the time, the arcs that you've read end up on KU anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and most of the time, the books, if you wanted them in paperback, are cheap enough.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not really gaining anything out of putting it online because it's going to end up there anyway.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, these are indie authors that, you know, have a lot to lose. They're self-published. So
Yeah.
it is really sad. And so for people that don't know, because there's a lot of readers out there that don't know about ARCs, they don't know what they are, what it means. So basically an advanced reader copy is a copy of the book that may not be in its completely finished form.
Yeah.
It's sent to readers so that they can read and review it prior to the release date. Because obviously when you go and read, you know, you find a book online on Amazon or wherever it may be, you look at the blurb and then there's always reviews, even though it's release day.
Yeah.
And so they're always ARC readers. So that's basically the premise of it. And the idea is that, you know, you get given that for free. They don't want you to change your review in any way. Or they ask, a lot of them ask that if you are going to give it less than 3 stars or DNF it, you just hold off on giving your review until a couple of weeks after the release date. And so, for people that don't know, because there's a lot of readers out there that don't know about ARCs, they don't know what it means. So basically, an advanced reader copy is a copy of the book that may not be in its completely finished form. It's sent to readers so that they can read and review it prior to the release date. it's never they never pressure you into writing anything in a certain way. And I think we've all either not finished an arc or something.
Yeah, there's been plenty where I've had arcs and it's not been for me, or I've not finished it, but I've always just left it. I've never even given like a shit review afterwards it's been released, because it's just not worth it, and I wouldn't want to shun an author down just because it's something that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah, reading is subjective at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
I might not like, and vice versa.
A lot of indie authors, when it comes to arcs, they just appreciate the fact that you've given the book a chance to read. There's been plenty of times where I've arcs read for some of the smallest authors and they've been great. And then I've read for quite popular ones, and obviously the book's been a hit and miss for me, but that's my problem, not theirs. Yeah. But it's a fine line of trust giving someone online an absolute raw copy of that book, because obviously there could be spelling mistakes, punctuation, anything like that, and they're willingly handing it over to you to read, to come back to them and say, oh, I found this spelling mistake, and maybe that you could tweak this, that's just how I see it, and blah blah blah. But for someone to get it and then go, I'm just going to put it online instead, like that is a good move. Like,
it's like before I joined like Bookstagram, BookTok, that type of thing, it's like I had no idea what an arc was. Like, I went to I'd gotten back into reading and I hadn't joined Bookstagram yet. I was on BookTok, but I wasn't posting anything. I went to a book convention, gained a load of arcs, and I was like, I don't know what these are. I just know that they're not in like Waterstones yet.
Yeah.
And now sort of like being within the community as we currently are, I hold those arcs close to my heart because you're, like George said, you're being trusted by that author to read that book and review that book before it's released. And it's such a massive step in trust between you and that author, and between sort of the author and their community as well as like, I don't know why you'd do it.
No. And the thing is like, even if you do it and you don't get paid, like, okay, so some people might go on there and they might do it and they might get money for it because they've sold it, or they may just put it on there just for
the sake of doing it.
Yeah, whatever. Either way, one of them is not worse than the other. You have still stolen that author's work and you've put it on. And it's just horrific. And I've noticed, so in some of the arcs I had recently, get my Kindle app open. So I started reading my arc last night.
Yeah.
And I noticed this recently in a couple of other ones that I'd done. And at the end of each chapter, it says,
it's something like, if you're reading this, and it's not been sent to you personally, it's a pirated copy.
Advanced reader copy made for, and then it's that's my email address. Maybe I shouldn't have shown it.
Yes, but it's there. Yeah.
Start again.
Like, I read the.
Can you just blur that out for me, Ellie, and post?
Do you think I'm that fucking clever?
Just put a box over it.
I couldn't even see that then.
Doesn't have to look nice.
No.
But if you can see my email address, just block part of it out with some form of emoji for me.
Yeah. Little wiener emoji or something. Yeah. Keep it on.
That'll look alright.
Yeah. Well, honestly,
that's how we do it on this podcast. We just bang things together and hope for the best.
Yeah. We just get little emojis flying all over the place,
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, there is so I've just finished Greenlight. I finished it last night. And even that in the bottom of majority of the pages does say,
1, 2, 3.
does say, Ezra, shut up. It does say, if you're reading this and it's not been sent to you, it is a pirated copy. Which I think it should be. Like, that should be there. Like, if you've not been sent this personally and you've found it online, like, you've got that off the black market.
But also, this is something else that I keep thinking is, if you're the type of person that's going to go online looking, you're not the type of person that's going to care that it was a pirated copy.
No.
I just don't
If you
understand.
buy the book, just
I
buy
don't
it.
understand why you'd go and search for it. It's
I
like,
know.
especially with what happened with Harley and Lee with Chokehold. It's on KU. It's there. It's ready for you to read.
There.
But again, okay, we see KU as free, but it's
Yeah.
not, because you have to pay per month. It's still £10 a month, and some people don't want to do that. They want it for free. So if they can get it for free, they will.
Yeah. Which is, that's
It's
your
like,
problem.
it's like you know, the Throne of Glass tandem read?
Mm-hmm.
There's some kind of PDF out there somewhere where somebody has merged the two books in tandem order. Now, I never thought about it until just now, but I bet that's pirated, because the old Sarah J. Maas won't have done that.
No.
She won't have merged them together. She'll have wanted you to buy the whole series.
Yeah.
You know.
People are able to read on their Kindle the tandem read without having to
do two separate books, which is, stuff like that blows my mind, because being on a street team or being on an ARC team, either way, is such a massive, like, honestly, just being on a street team, ARC team, even if it's just a promo team, like, that is such a huge privilege to be picked out of God knows how many that apply, you know. And even if like you're on a promo team, you are still giving content that no one else can see.
Yeah.
You know, whether it is graphics, whether it is books, it could be, you know, it could be artwork from a book, it could be anything like that.
Release dates, anything.
Release dates, you know, whether it's got playlists in a book, whether, you know, covers, cover reveals, everything like that. You know, they place so much trust in your hands to keep that safe, you know, and not just go here, you know, because we've all had it where we've had cover reveals, and, you know, and they've said, please don't post till this time, or please don't post till this date, you know. And that's like that's one of my biggest fears, that is obviously because we apply for ARCs and stuff and street teams, and, you know, because most from in the US, I'm like, I can't convert this time at all.
Especially because we're weird and we have British Standard Time and GMT. So it's like,
so I'm like, well, which one?
Because there's an hour difference.
So I just think to myself, I'm like, I'm going to let the author post it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then I'll feel safe. Yeah. But it is just an absolute dick move to just take an ARC and be like, fuck it, I'm going to put it online instead. Yeah. Like, you deserve to have a hot pillow every time you turn it over.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
no cold side.
Especially with weather.
Yeah. No cold side. Stand on a plug, for all I care.
Oh, Lego.
You know, stub your toe on the corner of the table.
Hit your funny bone.
That's it. You know, I hope your Pepsi Max is always flat.
That is like the worst thing ever.
There's nothing worse than having a flat Pepsi Max.
That, or you always lose your bookmark.
Yeah. You know, you forever lose your page.
You never finish a book.
You just don't, you know, do better.
Do better.
That's all I've got to say. Like, I was buzzing when I got my first ARC. Like, I think my first ARC was Effie Campbell. And it was Desires. So she's from Scotland, I think.
Hmm.
And so she's got like, I think there's four or five, and they're all like interconnected, but they're all like Scottish mafia, and they're all quite slutty and spicy and nice, and you know what I'm talking about. So I got hers, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I have been chosen.
I think
The Lord.
my
Yeah.
first arc might have been Season of Secrets by Dana Leanne, actually.
That was my first one as well.
Yeah.
And like, I remember getting it and being like, I feel so special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have been chosen.
Like when you get that email and you're like,
I
and
know.
then you have the document come through to your Kindle and it's
Yeah.
got the little doc, and I'm like, why is there no cover? And then you click it and you're like,
And it's like, oh my god, it's there.
and then you finish it and you're like, oh, that was so good. And
Yeah.
then you just want
You
to talk
can't-
about it. You want to tell everyone how good
Yeah.
it is.
I feel
Right,
like we've
that
been.
that should be the whole reason of a street team, art team, stuff like that. You want to help to promote these authors. You know, there's one author that I fight to the death to try and get on every single time, and it's H.D. Kelton's, and I cannot do it. It's like a fight to the absolute death.
Because
For
there is like some of the time because you've got authors that are indie authors but
Mhm.
are actually quite big. They're big authors, but they're
Yeah.
just still publishing independently.
yeah,
They are really hard to get on the street teams of because they're basically just published authors.
yeah.
Traditionally published authors at that point.
I felt like I'd been personally chosen when I got onto Harley Vex Street Team.
You're like, Anya.
I got the email, I came straight into our group chat, and I was like,
She was
I
like-
am the chosen one. I don't know how to cope right now.
I
And,
want
like-
to throw up.
It's like, I just felt that, like, the fact that we have been chosen, and, like, we're all involved in street teams,
Mhm.
we've all read ARCs, we've all applied for ARCs as well. And I feel like the application process is something I feel like we should definitely touch on, because, like, you have to apply for these arcs. You have to put forward. It's
You've
like
got to go through all the rigmarole of.
it's
you
like
know.
here's all of my socials.
Yeah.
Here's all my links. These are the followers that I've got.
Yeah.
I've read X, Y, and Z from you. I've
Yeah.
reviewed X, Y, and Z from you,
Here's the
as well
review
as
from here, and then it even says at the bottom in big fat letters.
Do not pirate this arc.
yeah.
If you are found pirating these arcs, you will be charged. It is illegal. And there's two little tick boxes that says, no thank you, or I understand. Understand!
Because like it's like I know it sounds like it shouldn't take a long time, but for me, applying for an ARC takes a long time because
Mhm.
you've got to get all of your links together. You've got to go and find all of like the reviews you've done for the books. You've got to, because a lot of the time you have to write on there like a bit about yourself and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So obviously we always mention the podcast because it is our dream,
Mm-hmm.
as ridiculous as it sounds, for an author to send us 3 copies of their book for us to review on the podcast, because that would be like dreams made. So of course you have to write this bump on there.
Putting it out there, we're just,
Yeah.
Here it goes.
It's like we were
But also-
extremely lucky to receive, all 3 of us receive an arc,
Mm.
which is coming up soon. It's the episode is coming soon. The book's out now. Go read it. It's called Hollow Hellion.
Keep it in.
Keep it in.
But
It
like,
was released on the 31st of July. It's called Hollow Hellion by Jodie King. And the episode, Ezra's very excited. The
Yeah.
episode will
So
be
sorry about my child.
Don't worry about it. Also, she doesn't actually hit her child, just FYI. Jordan has a very good sense of humour. We think
Yes.
it's good.
If you
guys
haven't
think
figured
it's
that out by now, with the amount of dark jokes that we put in
good. You
this
probably
podcast,
shouldn't be watching our podcast.
Just
But
be honest.
the episode where we're going to speak about Hollow Hellion is due for release on the 21st of September, so a little bit of a wait because obviously we filmed so far in advance. But honestly, incredible book. Go and read it. But again,
we were extremely lucky to receive the arcs for
yeah,
that.
and we
And
all applied separately as well.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, and I think it's nice when an author will dip into like bookstagrammers that have a lower following account. You know, I think I understand why some authors do it, because obviously there is a wider audience range. You know, with people with a lot more followers, you know, that they know they're going to reach more people. But
Yeah.
then sometimes I feel like when there is a smaller bookstagrammer, I feel like they put just a little bit more effort
Yeah. And
into
also,
into doing the review and having the book. And that's quite controversial to say, because it's not me saying that Instagram with 10k followers doesn't put the effort in, because obviously they do. The followers are there. It's
you're not having to work to build it.
yeah.
You still got it.
You know, it's
Yeah.
still there, and obviously we all started from nothing.
Yeah.
You
There's not
know,
necessarily a correlation as well between high number of following and high number of engagement. Engagement is what matters, but that is not taken into consideration. It's just following.
no, you know, and it's obviously some of these authors will see that, like, you know, oh, they've got like 4k. That's 4,000 people that my book could reach.
yeah,
You know, and then they'll see someone, oh, they've only got 200, but that's only 200 people, but it's still 200 people.
And the thing is as well, like, so when you look on my TikTok now, I've got, I think, almost 1.2k followers on my TikTok. I've never applied for an arc whilst I've not applied for an arc for maybe 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
I've gained those followers in that time. When I was applying for ARCs, I was applying for them and I had more followers on Instagram. I still only have 460 followers on Instagram, which means you do not need a lot of followers.
No.
You just need to apply, because
Yeah.
you just need to get yourself out there. And the thing is, it's engaging with that author as well.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the downside of this scenario is that the opportunities for ARCs is probably going to be a lot slimmer, which is a real shame. But I think it highlights more that we need to keep supporting our indie authors, keep supporting them, especially in times like this. Like, everybody go and buy Chokehold.
Yeah. I can't say that enough.
So
I think it's just, again, like you said, it's best for us to, even if you're liking a post by an indie author, you're commenting, sticking it on your story, making sure that they're getting that engagement, because they write their books, that's their livelihood, but the social media, their accounts that are behind it, that's their marketing. And like, social media marketing isn't easy if you're doing it on your own,
No.
like,
I
at
think
all.
it takes a whole ass team sometimes, doesn't it? You know, to
like,
Yes,
just,
it does.
right there, yeah.
just thinking about how much effort it takes. I mean, I am not social media savvy in the slightest, and I get really overwhelmed by it. And I can just about handle doing my own TikTok. I can't handle doing my Instagram anymore, so I've sacked that off. These
That's
two,
fair enough.
incredible at it. They are great. I mean, it's Ellie's profession, so I would be surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah.
But the amount of time and effort that especially these two girls make into their content is ridiculous, and I do genuinely think that it's because you care,
Yeah.
and that is really important. And I think that's why indie authors see it, because they are also readers. They're also small accounts that are trying to get the following, and so they appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think from an author's point of view, you know, like when someone makes a graphic of their book, you know, it's like, oh my, you know, someone's taken the effort to do that for my book.
Mm.
And obviously, whenever we get tagged from authors or we get comments from them, my ass falls out every time.
Yeah.
I completely forgot to tell you guys something. Audrey commented, she found my reel on Instagram. She didn't follow me. She followed me from that reel. So she found it and I didn't tag her in it. And she commented being like, I was watching that and I was like, I recognise. She was like, I recognise that. And then she was like, I turned my volume up and went, I recognise that voice from Bookish Babes podcast. And I was like, it's me! My day was made. And I completely forgot to tell you about it because we went live on TikTok shortly after.
Well, I saw it on her story
I love
on
that.
Instagram.
I love that shit.
I saw your reel on her story on Instagram, yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Mm.
But yeah, so, but
well, you can see how excited we get.
Yeah.
And like the fact that
I still remember when you mentioned that Bryn Weaver had put your you know, and she come into the group chat and she was like, guys, I've just nearly shot myself.
I think my arse just fell out.
Yeah, like sick all over the floor, and I've just passed out. But I must check my Instagram again in case it wasn't real.
Because that's what it felt like, and I feel like, especially when when Bryn did it, I was so excited because I'm like, oh my god, that she's like well known. And she is.
She's like a traditionally published author.
Yeah, and my arse fell out. But even then, even when it was when Jessie Hall first commented on my post and she shared it, and oh my god, I still get so giddy and so excited about it. And when sort of any author comments on any of my stuff, I'm like, I don't know how to talk to you.
I feel like
that. I know that you're just another human,
but it's not.
To me, you're not. You're an author that I have actively read and searched out. Yeah,
we care about their books. They everything that these authors write means something to us, and that's why we care so much. And I think this whole issue with piracy just highlights the fact that some of these people do not give a shit.
No.
It's upsetting, and it obviously, leaves a bad taste in the mouth of a lot of people within the community and affects a lot of people within the community. It's just such a shame. I'm really sad about it, really sad. And
yeah, because it's being on a street team, you essentially protect these authors from stuff like this, and they hope that if you ever spot something that's pirated online, that you bring it back to them, and it's one of them where you will die on that hill for an author, and obviously when you apply for these street teams and when you apply for these art teams, they expect that support off you as much as you expect, it goes both ways, really, you're here to support them and vice versa.
It shocks me to hear that the person was on a street team as well. So it's different if you're on an ARC team, because obviously an ARC, all that happens is you get sent it and you just review it.
Yeah.
Street team, you do a lot of work in a street team that you don't get paid for, and in a lot of them, and I think Lee Rivers might be one actually, you aren't guaranteed an ARC being on a street team. So essentially, the authors are getting free marketing from you for nothing in advance. So for somebody to put their time and effort into making graphics, doing captions, releasing it onto their socials for nothing, no guarantee of anything, just to then turn around and do that to them doesn't make sense.
It's so backwards, because most of the time on street teams, obviously an author will have a PA, and that PA goes above and beyond making the graphics for people, making the captions for people. They're the ones that scope out the street team, and they sit with the author to pick who they want and who they don't want. and it's like you can only trust someone so far. You could look on Instagram, but you would never know to trust them or not trust them. You have to give them that chance to sort of prove themselves that they are worthy of being on that team. And obviously, when you are in street teams and stuff like that, there's many perks to it. Obviously, you do get the arcs. Most street teams that you apply for, you're automatically, giving them arcs. But then there's so much more than that. Like, being on Lee's team, she gifts us off our wish list every so often, every couple of months and things like that. She doesn't have to, we're literally there to push her books and things like that. And obviously, being on Harley's, there's an incentive thing, all they ask for is, can you do two or three posts a month? They can be your pick. You choose, and whoever has the most posts wins. You get a gift card, or they send you a book, and blah blah blah. And it becomes friendly competition then. And it sort of works towards, I could win a book out of this. I could win. Yeah. In Lee, she's done signed books, she's done artwork, she's done T-shirts, she's done this, and this. And that's all off her own back.
Yeah.
And it's
a relationship, isn't it?
Don't have to. Yeah.
Yeah, both sides get something out of it. I just can't understand. I just honestly can't get my head around why someone would put in so much effort to promote an author's work. Because now, especially the street teams, the landscape has had to change because of the algorithm rules in Instagram and TikTok now. So obviously previously they would send out graphics and everyone would just post them, whereas now you can't. It's got to be original content. So
which is a bit of a ball ache, yeah.
And so obviously I've had to come off quite a few of the street teams I was on because it's just too much work.
It is a lot. Like, I think people sometimes forget that, you're on a street team, you must get everything handed to you and this and this, and it's far from that. It's I know we don't get paid for it, but it's like having a second job.
It is. And that's why I just had to stop. But that's why I can't get my head round why someone would do that. Why would you put so much time and effort in to then just be like
to then pirate it afterwards? Like just buy the book. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Buy the book.
I do think it's crazy as well with the fact that so yes, you have to pay £10 a month for KU.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of offers that they have for KU is your first 3 months are free, or they're £1 for your first 3 months.
Yeah, it's 99p, something like that.
Why? Why would you?
And it's not just that, a tenner for all them books.
It's what? A coffee and a...
Well, for me...
Coffee and a muffin from Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I read anything. I'd say 12 books a month is sort of my minimum.
Mm-hmm.
That's less than £1 a book.
But even then, even if you just read 2 books from KU a month,
£5.
It's worth it, because a lot of the times Kindle books are
they're £6 minimum now.
Yeah, £5 a book.
Yeah.
If you read more than that, you're basically making money because it's free.
It's free. Free.
It's girl math.
It's girl math.
And if you put it as a direct debit, which it is, and you factor it into your monthly bills, it's free because you never even have to think about it.
Exactly. Because to me, my Kindle Unlimited is a house bill.
Yeah.
It's I'd feel lost without my KU now, just because
I would simply pass away.
It's I read so many books that are on there, just because it's I don't really want to read one of the physical books that I've got.
Yeah.
Let's have a look on KU, or you see a quote online and you're let's just have a sneaky look and see what's on there.
Because I don't use KU that much anymore because I just because of the sheer amount of physicals I have now. I tend to read physicals over it, but I would never get rid of my KU because there's always a time where I'm like, oh, I don't want to buy that novella, or
Yeah, I just want to read whatever, I don't
Yeah.
have the physical, it's just come on KU. And there's always the chance to put it back.
yeah,
If
You
you
know?
don't like it, you don't have to read it, and you can give it back to KU and move on to the next one. So
You
in
can take
theory,
your little library card in and go,
like, you're not wasting money on it.
yeah,
Mhm.
If you say you pick up a physical, you didn't even read the blurb, and you start reading it, you don't like it, and now you're like,
oh,
I just
I've
wasted
bought it
my
now.
time on that. Oh, wait a minute. Perfect example.
oh, she's got some. Oh, yes.
I spent £11, I think it was, from TikTok Shop on this. It's like 20 quid. IDNF this at 100 pages. So technically that's a waste of money now. Although someone did tell me that after 100 pages it does get better, so I am tempted to continue reading just to see.
Keep going with it.
Yeah.
Just to see if it gets any better. But still, prime example, if it was on KU, which I don't think it is,
I don't think it is either.
I could have just given it back. And
You
then,
could.
Yeah. And then if you want the
Plenty
physical,
where I've just DNF'd and gone, woo.
if you want the physical afterwards, you can buy it and put it on your trophy shelf.
I have problems with that, but
All of these
Mine are in-
behind me.
Mine are in boxes.
But like, it's like half the
Yeah.
ones that I've read on KU now, I now have as physicals because I enjoyed them that much. But the ones that I didn't enjoy, I just haven't bought the physicals off. And I can be like, if someone goes, oh, have you read so and so? I'm like, yeah, it's all right.
That's great.
it was just alright.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, what did you read it on? Oh, I read it on KU. So, oh, that's fine then.
The
I just think
messages,
people need to do better.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Messages, don't do it.
Don't be
Yeah.
a knob. Don't pirate your books. Read about pirates. Don't be a pirate.
That has to be some kind of sticker or T-shirt or something in the.
There is a pirate romance as well.
Well, I think I'm currently reading a Waichus. I think they might be pirates.
Well, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but
But
I don't
like-
want to pirate.
Don't
Hmm?
pirate.
Yeah.
You know, I said just not be a dick.
Yeah,
Like,
or just don't
You
break the
know.
law. Be a law-abiding citizen. Great film.
that's a good film, that.
Re-
It's
And
a
again-
fantastic film.
Read about the criminals. Don't be one.
She is coming out with all the fucking quote. It's just
Because
mind-blowing.
like I don't see the point in why you do it.
No.
And it gets me really irate about it. Because like it's one of those, it's like we all applied. We all apply for ARCs and we've applied for multiple ones. If we didn't get them, that's fine. I will
Yeah.
just wait. It's
I
normally
will sit and wait.
because
Perfect
normally
example.
it's only a couple of weeks until the book comes out. Perfect
Yeah.
example.
I can
Ellie's
put it
probably
out
going to say it.
In the meantime.
Green light.
Exactly.
I didn't get green light, but I'm just sat patiently waiting.
Even better, I'm not sure where she'll be because when we film, we're sideways, and when you see
It depends on where I decide to put you all. So
Yeah, so either way, whichever way Ellie is, me and Ellie applied for Chokehold. We did
Yeah.
not get the arc for Chokehold.
no.
This knob got it, pirated it, and instead we could have just got it instead.
You could have.
And now, instead, just because I waited very patiently, like a good little girl, I've got it on my Kindle, ready to read.
It's there, sat waiting, and it's so damn good. And if you've not read it, I don't know what
Read
the fuck you're doing. I don't know what you're doing.
I'm reading about pirates, Jordan.
But she's reading about pirates instead.
She's reading about pirates, but she's not being a pirate.
That's it.
And on that note, episode complete. We hope that you've taken a lesson from this.
And if
never
you'd
be a
like to, if you'd like to hear more of our rants and keep up to date with us, you can give us a like, subscribe to us, We are active on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and YouTube. We love the community that we've gotten and that we've gained so far. Thanks for listening to us. Have a rant, have a natter, fangirl about books. We absolutely love it. And now, don't be a pirate.
Don't be a
Be without
pirate.
them.
Do better. Keep your hands where they should be. Stop going
Don't be
online.
criminal. And peace out.
Peace out.